Every married woman I know is deceiving herself to some degree, doing a whole lot of mental gymnastics and self-gaslighting to tell herself, everything's okay, I'm okay, living with the enemy. I hardly know any married woman who can be real with herself about her situation, not to mention real with anyone else. You have to be a little bit crazy to live with your oppressor and stay sane.
Yes, these are the sort of people that married women deal with. Like, it's now becoming a thing online. I never really thought that there would be a time like this where being married is now a bad thing. Like it is a totally shameful thing right now. There are just so many forces against married people, marriage, it's just a lot. And usually when I see posts like this, I just my initial reaction would just be to swipe and just hiss, and but this one actually triggered something in me, which is very unlike me. That's why it's very important to be mindful of the kind of things that you consume online, whether married or not. You guys, like I said, it actually triggered something in me, and I actually had to deeply reflect on myself and on my marriage. And yeah, I had to deeply reflect. Now, this video is not for people, it's not to convince anybody concerning my marriage, because it might come off as like I want to convince anybody, because it's totally blah. It's blah. I'm not trying to convince anybody that I'm in a good marriage. I'm not even trying to convince myself, but I just feel like there are still people out there, especially women, that just want to lean onto that glimmer of hope. Like people that are kind of scared, that desire marriage and are kind of scared as because of everything that is happening in the world today, what women against men and all that. So like I said, when I saw this post, I kind of started to think deep. In as much as I'm a deep thinker, I am not an overthinker. There's a difference. I used to be an overthinker, but it never ever goes well. And this type of posts just want you to their aim is for you to begin to overthink things and begin to see things that are not there. It's not going to work for me because I'm not an overthinker in any sort of way. They want to gaslight you. You to see things that are not there. They, like, it's just there's how people emotionally trigger others. I don't know, it's just a thing with narcissists and all that. They just want you to be gaslighted. Misery loves company. That's just the summary. They want you to be heartbroken and just be in their group. You understand? Because misery loves company. Of course, when you're in a bad marriage, you don't need to think deep about it. You don't need to think deep about emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, manipulation and all that. These things are there. They are glaring in your face. Think it's not something you think about. Of course, those are grounds for divorce and all that. But then this post actually made me reevaluate my marriage, have a deep reflection, and just ask myself a particular question, because obviously I've not encountered any form of abuse. At least this is 9 years that I haven't encountered, by the grace of God, any form of abuse whatsoever. Yes, there have been arguments here and there, couple fights and all. I'm not really sure we've ever had any argument as a couple that involved families, or nah, we've never. Okay, except for one time that I we had an argument, then I wasn't picking my husband's call or something like that. So he had to call my dad to reach me. When I saw my dad's call, I now kind of calmed down. That's the only time. There has never been any sort, because we know that, yeah, we have had couple arguments that can be resolved between ourselves. So why are we involving every other person? So I actually just had to think and reflect and ask myself, what if something happens tomorrow? Because life could happen. Anybody could happen, even though that's not our prayer. I'm a child of God, yes. I know I don't think about all that, but if anything happens, that if one of us, either my husband and I, decide not to have common sense anymore, how would I truly feel? How would I truly feel? And the answer is, I would obviously definitely feel sad. I would feel sad because 9 years or however years we would have stayed, at least up until the form of abuse or whatsoever, it was beautiful for me. Now, I'm not trying to convince anybody that I'm in a good marriage. It's for the people that just need that little glimmer of hope. It was beautiful. I will be sad. I will be a sad person, but then I'm going to be fine because I'm always fine. That's just my life. Eventually, I know that I'll be sad. I'll be fine, rather. It doesn't take away the fact that I still loved my marriage when it lasted, and I'm not the kind of person that if I end up in a separation today, I'll come and start deceiving others and say, "Oh, marriage is not good. It's a scam." Or I'm not even the kind of person that would one day say, "Oh my God, I'm bored," and that's the ground for divorce. Nah, I'm not that kind of person. I can speak for myself, except my husband, but I know right now that he's not that kind of person. So yeah, I would never even convince anybody otherwise against marriage. If at all anything happens to my marriage in the future or what have you, I will still even desire for my kids to get married. You guys, I have sons. So when I see women try to come and paint men in a bad light, it's actually very personal for me because I know that I have boys. And I don't know what this generation is turning into. I fear for my kids. I'm talking as a mother right now. I actually really fear for my kids here, both sons and daughter, but most especially for my boys, because women right now are just something. They are just something. So, and I know how I'm training my boys. I know how I'm training my boys to treat ladies, and it is sometimes it has to be like, you're training these boys to be gentlemen a little bit too much, and I'm like, leave them, because I know that women nowadays they want more. Even though, God, I don't even know how to put my emotions into words, but I know that I'm raising them like a girl would kind of bully them in school, and because I have told my boys not to raise or lay their hands on any girl whatsoever, because the moment you raise your hands on her, she's like a weaker vessel. She might just pass out. Yes, that's what I tell my. So they already live with that fear in them. They never ever lay their hands, try to punch a girl, beat a girl, or no, they don't do that. Even with their sister, I try to, you know, advise them on how to treat women with their sister. So I know the kind of boys that I'm raising, and I actually really fear for them. So I really don't want the good women to give up on marriage because of posts like this that generalize men to be some sort of way. I don't know the kind of men that they have been dealing with, and because you have been dealing with some sort of men in your, or your entire generation has dealt with some sort of men, it might just be a pattern that you guys, this type of bitter women, need to address, and it takes just one person not to fall for those sort of men. Instead of coming out here to generalize men as oppressors, come on, do better as a woman. I will never come on here to paint marriage as a bad thing just because I was unfortunate, my sisters were unfortunate, every other person in my life was unfortunate. I love women being truthful to themselves. Own up for your, be accountable for your actions. So this kind of post really, it annoys me, I wouldn't lie. In as much as I'm a strong person emotionally and all that, this kind of post really triggers something in me that, I don't know, it's just off. So no, I'm not lying to myself like she implied. I am not living with an oppressor. I am not living in denial whatsoever. I'm not even crazy because I am married to a man. I'm not any of that. As at the point I am filming this video, like I said, this video is not for women like this because they are already set on their negativity, on their negative mindset. It's not even to convince them, they are set on that. There's no way you can convince this sort of women, but it's for women that still need that little glimmer of hope that this kind of people just with negative stories just tend to scare them or put that fear in them concerning marriage. Marriage will continue to remain a beautiful thing. There is nothing that can change that, no matter the experience. But I just hope you know that. Yeah, I don't even know the point of this video, but I just started to imagine myself if I were a single person. I really feel like I would need a video like this to just feed my mind on positivity in general if I were still single right now, because obviously I've always been one that wanted to get married, but with the way social media is going, my goodness, you guys, yeah, I had to put myself in a single lady's shoes that desire to be in a relationship that would eventually lead to marriage. I would need this sort of hope. I would need this sort of encouragement and all that. So whoever, just be encouraged. And I hope married people would also drop encouraging comments in my comment section. Yes, that's the point of this video, okay? Yeah, that brings me to the end of the video. Let me know what you think about this lady in the comment section. I'd really love to know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in another video, okay? Bye.